Hey guys, welcome to one of these art time-lapse videos. So the deal with this one is I've been sick the last couple days and I am starting to recover, I think, but I just needed to do something productive vaguely. So I drew this piece here. I don't know how much I have the comments on about it, but I guess I experimented with a few things. And yeah, I guess without further ado, I'll start the time lapse. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Assuming I clicked the right one. Yeah. So I guess the idea I had for this just kind of was like I needed something, I don't know, something that felt good to make. Feel like I could still make art. Browsing Blue Sky and stuff, and it's just getting that itch to make something. So here it is. An hour later. So yeah, kind of started sketching out pretty basic headshot pose. Wanted to try and experiment with the head shape a little bit, and like looked up a bunch of otter references or something. Sorry, tiredness has hit me after I finished that piece. Now wondering if I should have recorded this commentary tomorrow, but it is tomorrow when I'm recording this at 3 a.m. Yeah. I know I'm a little out of it just because sleep's been weird and yeah, been sick. But anyway, kind of experimented with the hair shape a little bit and the facial shape here, where I was studying like references to otters and stuff. And just trying to see how I might want to update my style or not. Or slightly larger eyes, 'cause that's generally more popular. I don't know. I kind of took it back as I went a little, but yeah. Okay. So here I'm just kind of sketching out face shape, and I'm realizing it's looking a little too weaselly. Or I'll figure that out in a moment. I need to make the muzzle bigger. Weaselly or like even fine. Looking up references and saw that yeah, otters, their muzzles don't taper back in very much at all, and probably something I just need to adjust with my style on some poses, some angles anyway. It does a little bit because there's the skin on the actual like cheek comes out a bit more, but skull wise, not really. But still pretty useful construction layer that ended up together here. So it got a little messy along the neckline, unfortunately. And I tried to, with the hair, the like side poof on the top, like on the front way of the, where that splits the main big part that goes one way and the small part that goes the other. Made the small part a little bit larger than I normally would. Sometimes I just that's a new part of the design, and I don't know. I've mixed feelings because I feel like the hair blocks too many of the lines, too much of the facial shape, all that. But I actually changed my method a little bit and made the hair semi-transparent in certain spots on this picture to try and have more of the overall facial shape and details still make it through to the final image. Even stuff that's would normally be behind the hair. Also, I also toned down some of the extra poof that comes from the back, just because a lot of it just wouldn't be visible from straight on view. I don't know. I don't know how much of this is indicative of actual style changes or not. It's just an experimentation. This picture. Guess we'll see what kind of reception it gets and whatnot, but what I should have done is I should have popped this video into a video editor and sped it up by more than 2 times, because I still think this is going to end up being like 45 minutes. Something along those lines. But whatever. I guess now's a good opportunity to just kind of, you know, chat about and such things, you know. So, I've noticed a very large uptick in views over Christmas on what I would have assumed would have been the most boring video I've uploaded in the past, I don't know how long, which was just me farming on Warframe, desperate to get videos up, but trying not to stress too much about it. And the video where I do literally nothing but farm debt bonds, and not the one where I finish it or anything like that, but the one that's just in the middle of me farming, has exploded in views for reasons that I do not fully comprehend. So, hi, new people. I don't know, sometimes play Warframe. I hope that wasn't the reason everyone showed up, because I'm not like a serious Warframe content creator or anything like that. It's just a game I've played for a while. Not as long as some, longer than others. I don't claim to be any sort of authority about strategies or anything like that. But yeah. I kind of doubt any of those people have stuck around this long into a furry art time lapse. But, maybe. Always a chance someone did. And be a little bit more upbeat, or like thick here. A little more energy, please. Whatever, that's what I get for having a playlist where I just dumped a bunch of stuff in. I should have just stuck with the normal playlist I play for these things. Let me scroll and find something. I don't know. Here, we'll do that. But yeah. Nice sketches coming along here. Still was trying to sort out what exactly the expression was gonna be. Kind of just overly drew the lines, and it's gonna end up emerging in the actual line layer. Because the sketch got kind of messy around the eyes. So yeah, I end up making a tweak later on, midway through shading, where I opt to make the, well, it's the left eye, but the eye on the right side of the image, making that with a little bit more closed. But in part because I kind of messed up the irises, the size of the irises, and in part just because it, I don't know, suited my style more. Um, but yeah, I will say, I have seen some people use mirrors, like mirror tools for drawing straight on faces. I would caution against doing that sort of thing because that can kind of develop into bad habits of how you do art. Like, in some respects, it's nice because it makes it so you can very perfectly do thing that keep everything perfectly symmetrical that needs to be symmetrical. And like, if I was making a design for a mask, which I've done a few times, obviously I would use a mirror tool, but I found the small imperfections of doing it by hand make an image look a lot like better and not so fakey looking. But that's my personal opinion when I see stuff like that where it's perfectly mirrored. Here I'm just kind of fiddling with how I want to do like nose. I'd end up settling on just kind of pulling the shape of the nose up the snout a little, and still having it like do the divot for the heart shape in the front, but that the idea is it would still go further back up than the muzzle. But yeah. Begun the lines layer now. Really should have sped this up more. Oh well. Something. Whatever. We'll let that go, I guess. Play through the stuff. Why not? I'm just talking about the music right now. Anyway. Yeah. So the thing I did with the hair is I actually decided to put the lines onto a separate layer. Then, do the colors twice and then put them at 100% opacity behind the color layer for the face and everything else. And then another one on top with slightly lowered opacity. That way it kind of has the effect of being able to see through the bangs a bit. I don't know if I'll keep doing that or not. I don't know if I'll adjust that style. Maybe. I also once we get to the shading, you'll see, but I added more details to the shading to improve texture and stuff. So hopefully people like that. I don't know. I like doing that, but it always feels like anytime I try to get too detailed of texture, it makes the image perform worse. People like plain stuff for some reason. No dynamic shading. Personally, I'm never gonna just do cell shading. I honestly think it'd look worse. And maybe it's just that I can't do it well, so I lean on, or like the way I conceptualize light and how I draw light makes cell shading look bad. But I gotta do some dynamic. Maybe it is just my weak point and I do it to compensate. I don't know. Trying to get the now. Well, if you've made it this far in, chances are you do like my artwork. And just a reminder, I am 100% open for commissions. I might, take a few days just to one thing, still potential hectic family events going on or anything like that, so can't guarantee any given day I'll be completely free. And also, I think I'm getting better from this cold right now, but see how I feel tomorrow. But in general, it won't be too long. I am completely open for commissions, so if you're interested in commissioning me, I recommend reaching out to me on Discord or email. All that information will be on my Linktree, which I will have in the description, as I do. If it's not in this description, check the descriptions for the other time-lapse videos, but it should be in this one too, if I remember. Yeah. I probably, like, I think I have a Coffee or Ko-fi link in there too. I, for years, have been meaning to set up Patreon. I just felt like I didn't have enough, quick enough, regular enough output. We'll see. I technically have a Patreon somewhere, but I don't know that there's any real rewards to it. Either way, any support be great, much appreciated. Yeah. Anyway, okay, yeah. So you see here, I've made us another layer for the hair, and I'm drawing it in, and I did kind of make the bangs a bit wider because I knew I was going to be doing this technique of see-through hair with an opacity layer for the bangs. I'm hoping that I got the desired effect and it looks good. See. I mean, you know, you guys have already seen because you saw the final image. I like how it turned out. But yeah. So here I'm just taking little chunks from the line layer of the base and adding them so I can just do a bucket fill without having to worry about it on the hair layer. Well, this is and I'm just adding those to the hair layer by merging the layer down. And there we go. Now that's solid block on me. Once I fill in the rest of the hairline up there. Yeah. Always tweaking my style a little bit, I feel like. And that's not a good thing necessarily if I want to deliver consistency, but I guess I'm always just trying to outrun myself, I guess. I feel certain things are continue to be weaknesses of my style, and so I'm always trying to improve upon them, but I sometimes wonder if I end up going in the wrong direction. I don't know. You guys are free to leave feedback, as long as it is polite and constructive. Putting in lines on the vest now. Detail lines for the curvature of folds. Just enough to imply the folds are there without going into too much detail. I didn't decide, or I opted not to try and draw in stripes in the shoulders just because there's not a lot showing. Even if there would have technically been a stripe visible at that angle or whatever. It's... who cares? People know I got stripes in my shoulder. It wouldn't really add much in this particular picture, so I just did a call of like, I'll leave them. I think I'm fetching my ref sheet right now. Not, I may have gotten distracted momentarily. Yep, there it is. We're about halfway. I'm really tempted to just skipping the time lapse ahead a little bit. I figure I shouldn't deny anyone any of the time lapse just because I know personally I would probably not like to see it skipped ahead. I'd like to see it through. I mean, if I was watching someone else. Because you never know, the thing someone might be watching to do reference could be a thing I might just skip over thinking it's not important. I don't know. Like if they're trying to pick up on some aspect of my technique that I'm unaware that I should be, I don't know. Gonna do anything special, I don't think. Do a lot of bucket fills for my coloring, and then I go back to the well, actually this one I just did a black fill on the background because I have multiple color layers and I just didn't feel like fiddling with that. It's faster just do a bucket fill and do my little outline trick. Doesn't really matter which one. Same outcome. Like one less layer you have to worry about. It's the only real difference. Okay, yeah, so here I'm starting to fiddle. I get different ideas to try and add texture and then abandon some of them. Like this it doesn't look good. I tried to keep going with it to make it look good, trying different ways of approaching it, but no. Just ain't a good idea. The transparency alone does enough to imply it. Maybe if I faded in, like if I faded out the layer beneath with the airbrush, it might look a little bit nicer, but just doing it like this, I have some ideas of how I could make it work a little better in the future, should I decide to try them. I figure I might airbrush and then maybe either liquefy or finger smudge, try and imply like the texture of fur as it gets gets thicker, and would just obscure the layer below more. But I didn't do that here. I kept it one flat gradient, or not gradient, one flat opacity. Do gradients later. Though actually not that many, just the one. Just one final gradient. Also a gradient in the background, but that counts. I guess there's only two. Two uses of the gradient tool. However, airbrushed shading and applying Gaussian blur, whatever, to do the cell shade that I do. And I use a different pen to try and make the shading look a little bit more uniform in style. Hopefully it works out well. I took the extra time working on the shading layer that give it the texture and everything. So I think it turned out better than most of my pictures when it comes to shading, at least. I think I put in the extra legwork. But I guess that ultimately is up to everyone else to judge. Sorry I keep yawning. I genuinely was not tired when I started recording this, and it just kind of all hit me like a wave. Always happens anytime I get focusing on a piece of art. Every other bodily need or whatever just turns off for the duration that I'm working. I just hyper fixate. Hopefully everyone had a good Christmas, or, you know, whatever else you celebrate. Mine went pretty well. I mean, except for the whole, you know, illness, but aside from that, yeah, I think mine went pretty well. No notable negatives occurred, so that's always good. I only bring that up because we have had, well, okay, there were injuries, I should say, but nothing nearly as bad as some past years. To the best of my knowledge, no one's gotten COVID. Ironically, last Christmas before last, I had gotten COVID just before, almost spreading it to my family without realizing it, because I was asymptomatic until the 26th or 27th. I think this is 2021, 22. Luckily, I did not spread it. But yeah, that kind of laid me up for the rest of the year and wrecked my immune system. So, you know, but there have been worse Christmases than that. So I'm just glad that everyone else seems to have been healthy through this one. My family, the good change of pace. So yeah, here I'm working on the eye shines. I wanted to make like, I don't know. I don't know what I was going for here. I guess I was originally thinking like windows, but then I kind of was just thinking, I don't know, just where shines. I took out the little handle for the window because this ended up being an outdoor thing, so I'm guessing it's just like maybe some reflection off of something that is particularly shining in the eyes. A reflection of a window rather than being out the window. Makes more sense, I suppose. I don't know. Because there's no like windows or buildings in the background final image, so maybe you can call this an like continuity, but I think it ends up looking kind of fine. Especially like there could be a window towards the direction I'm facing. I guess that was kind of what I was imagining. Reflecting the sun that would be kind of overhead to the left through the clouds. Experimenting of different shading before reverting back to good old cell shade and then blur it with the Gaussian blur to actually make it look good. Oh boy, we still got a good... Okay, so it's like a half hour left of the video, so I guess that's 15 minutes. We're getting there, though. But yeah, you can see I don't really have the best style for actual cell shading. I guess you use a much thinner. Maybe one thing I'm missing about that is how to do it cleanly without it too fiddly while still going over the lines. Because it looks bad if it's all under the lines. I don't know how to make it look nice for the line. I just kind of have to fudge it shading, or with the ends up looking okay usually, but I guess I need to watch some artists who cell shade style and see, keep an eye on their layer work. And if it's just that they're freehanding it, or if they are right combination. Draw over their line without it looking crummy for one reason or another. Might just be a practice hand. But certainly one response. Seems like that would be a lot more practice I'd need to do to get to be able to that reliably do lighting over lines of it spilling over. Because so I should elaborate my issue. I find that when I've bound it to lines, like I set the lines layer as a reference layer and then draw over on top of it, sometimes a little bit of the line will peek through beneath. Looks off. And obviously, if you turn off the reference layer, then filling over the other way looks off as well. That's just kind of what I've opted for generally. Plus, like, sometimes you can't really do much about it. Like, if like that's not really helpful if you're working on the same layer. Just lighting one. I guess if you set the reference layer below and you have different lighting layers, draw over. There's ways I could do it, but they're all overcomplicated. So I'm sure there's a more elegant solution. I don't think most people even know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes. Plus, the old school ways you had to have it for practicing. So, surely I can just keep practicing that and maybe be able to do good actual cell shading and have my style of dynamic shading a little bit punchier because it's actually based on cell shading poorly first and then blur. Granted, I do go over with an airbrush a little, forcing a bit of, because I found there was still just a little bit too much flatness to the image of this. Nothing a little airbrushing could fix. Oh, I see what I'm doing. I'm adding texture highlights right now, making it like fur. Probably pretty hard to tell from the video. But I've taken a little fingertip blur / blend tool, and just feathering along the edges. So I switched to Blur by Fiber to try and get the line just fade a little bit better and look a little nicer. Here comes the airbrushing, I think. Yeah. The whole thing feel a little more dynamic. And almost at this point, it's like you don't even realize you're seeing through the hair. You're getting more of the head shape without realizing it. Actually, it's a nice effect. Feathering the well, I believe. Not too for now. Should be about 10 left of the video where I then start doing background. Also the eyes. Put some more detail into the eyes. And yeah, I close one of the eyes a little bit. As you can see, the iris size pretty uneven between the eyes. I think I do that after I add some first a little bit of shading to help build their shape out a bit more. Then I realized that since I last used my computer, restarted Clip Studio, all of the brushes I made last time are gone, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and make the brush, one of the brushes I already made again. Not exactly the way that it existed before, but whatever. I made do because I mainly was just trying to put some texture on the iris. I knew that the new brush tip I made would do a very good job of that. Now here's where I try and correct the eye. So I mess up this first time. End up drawing on a layer I wasn't supposed to. I gotta go back and yeah. I do it again. Sure that I am on 2 layers. Little bit of adjustment. And the eye back up a little. This doesn't totally hide the issue with the iris, but honestly, you guys didn't notice until I pointed it out, probably. To widen the pupil on the on the left side, right eye. Technically, it's best. Fix that. And yeah, I think we go on to the background now. Oh wait, no. That's right. I go back to fiddle with the shading. Definitely decide to apply a blur layer. That as well. Gives it a little bit more once I've put it all together. Right. For the background, which I just kind of pretty quickly. Just a few of the brushes that I still had working. Some of the brushes I'd originally planned on using didn't exist anymore. Again. So I'll have to go and remake them. Fun. So glad Clip Studio just decides to edit 10 times, but oh well. This stage of the game, like spending the time to remake any brushes, so thankful I did still have some I could use. That was nice. Though Luca's not really popping out from the background. I'm trying to figure out how to change that. Ultimately conclude that I made the plants too blue. I should change that. Not quite. Okay, I think that's what I... And then I add a few bushes in the background of another tool. A little bit of depth to the scene. Give a bit of a foggy effect. That's basically it. Oh yeah, the gradient. Gradient's the last thing. Then I'm grab for that, I think. Days. It. Yeah. Oh yeah. I scoot down the highlight. They're coming on a little bit too strong. Doing now something. Oh right. Some back lighting and shading to help me pop out a little more from the background. Details. Okay. So yeah, that's basically it. Final image. Difference with nudging the watermark around a little. But yeah. Oh, that's this image. I guess I called it Optimist. Probably me wanting to draw something to feel optimistic. Yeah. Open for commissions. Feel free to join the Discord. You don't have to pay to access it or nothing like that. You can just join up. Not super active right now, but more people, more active it'll be. And interact with me and other fans. But yeah. That'll be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.